Good morning. Welcome. Um, my computer is misbehaving a little bit today, so something weird happens. That's just the way it goes. So, welcome to our Sunday morning meditation. Welcome to my friends on Zoom who I can see, the folks on Facebook who I can't see, and whoever is tuning in later on YouTube. Happy to have you here. Um, We're going to continue today with our walk through the Ten Paramis, the Ten Perfections of the Heart. We're going to talk about truthfulness. Before we go there, I wanted to reiterate something I talked about a little bit last week. Um, the most common thing, the two most common things I'm asked about in meditation are I can't stop the noise in my head and I keep falling asleep. Um, yeah. I used to be really unconscious about falling asleep in meditation, especially in group meditation, right? Um, and I was on a meditation retreat with Gil Fonsdale, so this is at least 15 years ago, at a really great place. It was a retreat center that was also a working farm. So, like, you're sitting there, you're meditating, and you hear off in the distance the cows. It's like really cool. But we're sitting there, it's probably day two or three, and I look up, and there's Gil, like this, doing one of those, right? And I remember thinking, I hope he doesn't like just like fall, but it gave me permission. You know, everybody deals with this. The other thing, you know, if you do group meditation, if you or retreats, every now and then we're all sitting there, and behind me on the right, I hear, right? I don't want to be that guy. If you go to enough group meditations, you'll also hear people snoring in the room. And I also don't want to be the guy who like falls asleep and falls over onto the person next to me. I've seen that happen too. Other than that, mindfulness is about observing the process, whatever it is. We don't judge the process. Sometimes the process is there's a lot of noise in my head. Sometimes the process is there isn't. Sometimes the process is I'm really tired and I'm meditating in the evening and I catch myself going like this. What I don't want to do is like fall down and hit my head on my altar over there while I'm meditating. Um, so here's a little mini mantra when you notice whatever phenomenon, whether it's your mind is really jumpy and active, or you're falling asleep, or there's an itch in the middle of your back where you know you're never going to be able to get to it. Um, it's all good. You notice you've been wandered off in thought. Oh, it's all good. Come back. You notice you're nodding off. If you have to go off and lie down and go to sleep, go off and lie down and go to sleep. Do not fall over and hurt yourself. Just, it's all good. It's all. It's not that. It's not any more complicated than that. One of the things I appreciate about this particular form of meditation is it's really, really simple. Um, if it's not simple, it's not vipassana. So, and all those little things and foibles that we notice are, once again, opportunities for self-compassion. Cut yourself a break. People worry about whether or not they're doing it right. Um, you cannot do this wrong. The doing it is the doing it. So, it's a really great opportunity to just pause and bow to whatever your experience is in the moment. So, with that, let's find a meditation posture. where you are comfortable and alert, but not stiff. And let's just take a slow, deep breath. And just lower your gaze so that your eyes are just sort of falling into looking sort of down your nose without pushing, just letting them fall into a lower gaze, just to relax the muscles, and gently close your eyes. And let's start with a few slow, deep breaths. Just helping us make that connection with the mind and the body. See if you can be aware of your breathing from the inside, from the body, whatever that means, rather than from the control tower at the top of your head. Just a few slow, deep breaths. And with every exhale, just begin to relax and soften. And let your breathing return to normal. And notice the body receiving the in-breath. And letting go of the out-breath. And as you exhale, continue to relax and soften. Let your body sink into your seat, noticing gravity doing its thing. And relaxing the muscles in your face and your neck to whatever degree you can. And on the out breath, relaxing your shoulders. And letting your belly just hang loose. And let yourself become aware of the sensations of the body breathing. What does it feel like to be breathing? Notice what you notice. Whether it's your chest moving up and down, your belly moving in and out, whether it's the air moving in and out of your nose. Just being with the sensations of the body breathing. And as you continue on the out breath, let the mind settle into a more quiet way of being to whatever degree you can. Just relaxing the thinking muscle. Just letting your breath anchor you in the present moment. Each breath in, each breath out is a present moment experience. If your mind drifts off, thoughts, feelings, it's all good. When you notice, just return to your awareness of the sensations of the body breathing. thoughts may come and go. You may notice right away, or some period of time might go by before you notice that you're thinking. It's all good. When you notice, it's internally. Bow to the process of thinking, not to the thoughts themselves, because those come and go just like thought itself. Without getting involved in whatever subject or issue the thinking mind has landed on. It's all good. And come back to bringing your attention to your awareness of the body breathing. Just sitting in the truth of this moment. Breathing in and out. Experiencing the simple truth of whatever we're experiencing in this moment. Maybe you've gotten really still and that's the truth you're sitting with. Maybe your mind has been jumping the whole time and that's the truth you're sitting with. Maybe something in the middle. Sitting with the truth of this experience, whatever it is, in this moment. Letting the body breathe in and out while we watch. And may it be that the truth of whatever we experience in this meditation helps us settle and open our hearts. May it be that the truth of this practice help us bring kindness and compassion to ourselves and to those around us. And may it be that the fruits of this practice radiate into our interactions with everyone we encounter. The short interactions at the grocery store, the conversations with the people we talk to. And helps us meet the world with kindness. May the benefits of this practice benefit all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings be at ease and at peace. Thank you for your practice. As usual, I put some information in the chat. How to find this link on Zoom every week. How to find me, my contact information. The link to my website. The YouTube link. I think I put the YouTube link up there. Because all these meditations and talks are archived on YouTube. They're also archived on my website. And these talks are freely given, of course. And someone asked me, how's it going with the meditation group? I said, I'm having a blast. If you feel moved to donate, there's a link to do that, but don't feel obligated. We're continuing our journey through the 10 Paramis, which briefly to review, were developed, it's said, by a previous incarnation of the Buddha before, several generations before the awakening, when he realized that he would be a Buddha in a future life. And he set out to write down what became known as 10 perfections of the heart for awakening. Later written down by Shantideva, available in a book called The Bodhisattva Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, which you can get from Abe Books online. I'm not a fan of Amazon. The best place I know of for used books is abebooks.com, and it's there. So if you want to do a deeper dive into the Paramis, that's a great place to do it. The 10 Paramis that were identified, the 10 perfections, are generosity, morality, or ethics, renunciation, insight, energy, patience, truthfulness, resolution, loving kindness, and equanimity. And so far we've covered generosity, ethics, renunciation, insight, energy, and patience. And today we're talking about truthfulness. The Dharma is the teaching. The Buddha Dharma is what I teach, or some derivative thereof. I don't really claim to be an expert on that or really anything. The literal translation of the word Dharma is truth. Truth is the essence of the Dharma. Truth is the essence of the teaching. And I'm not going to get into a discussion of the overall truth of Buddha's teachings. I do believe in that. You can make whatever choices you want about that. But nonetheless, if we're going to talk about the spiritual path and about spiritual growth, we have to talk about the truth. If you're going to walk a spiritual path, you have to walk with the truth. The truth is a challenge. The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz, I really should do a talk on the Four Agreements. Maybe when I'm done with the 10 Paramis, I'll do the Four Agreements, and then I'll just continue doing lists as long as I do this. The first agreement in the Four Agreements is to be impeccable with your word. That's a challenge for a lot of people, for most people, I believe. Gandhi said there is no God higher than truth. You can't argue with it. The truth is the truth. It doesn't matter whether or not I like it. It doesn't matter whether or not I accept it. It is what is real. I've been doing 12-step meetings for 30 years, and there was a guy I knew when I was in California who used to say his higher power is what is true, because you can't argue with it. In the end, you have to point at the truth. So I'm not really talking so much about cash register honesty here. You know, if you give me if you owe me $10 and you give me a 20, I'll give you $10. I'm not talking about that kind of honesty. I'm really talking about being honest with ourselves. It starts there. If I'm not honest with myself, I can't be honest with you. Whatever I'm in denial about is going to shade my relationship with you. It's not a secret that I'm an addict. Okay. Got no problem talking about that. I used to have trouble talking about that. And this is just completely aside. I saw an interview with Joe Walsh, the rock musician, and he went on a great length about his sobriety, and it's on television. He goes, I'll talk to anybody about my sobriety. Okay, I got nothing to be ashamed of. That's the path. And that's the truth. The truth is I'm an addict. I don't have anything to be ashamed of. But as long as I was in denial about that, I could never heal it. Whatever we're in denial about in our own pain, in our own suffering, we can't heal it. We can't even look at it. We're all wounded. I mean, that's the first noble truth, right? Life includes dissatisfaction or grief. We're all wounded. But whatever our wounds are, we cannot heal them without looking right at them truthfully. In the moment of his awakening, when Mara, the god of illusion, was trying to stop the Buddha from awakening, the last moment, the thing he did at the awakening is he looked right at all of his stuff, all of his doubts, all of his fears, completely honestly, and said, I see you. And he wasn't necessarily relieved of all that stuff. All that stuff visited him now and then. But he met it with the truth and awakened. So the truth will awaken you. Just like I couldn't address my addiction without being honest about it. I worked as a therapist for 25 years, and I worked as a hospice counselor during various periods of time, and specialized in working with people who had, serious life-threatening illnesses. And I would meet people who'd been given a really horrible diagnosis like cancer or something like that, and they couldn't accept it, and they wouldn't get treatment. So denial can kill you. The truth can set you free, but denial can kill you. So being honest with ourselves, accepting the truth of who and what we are, the good, the bad, the ugly, warts and all, not excluding anything. I'm okay, not in spite of. I'm okay with all of it. We can't heal or change anything until we meet ourselves there, and that's where we can meet everybody else. I worked with a man who had cancer. He was in denial. He was refusing to get treatment because he didn't believe it. This is a long time ago in California. He had to get really sick. I urge you not to do that. But that's how strong denial is. And, they say in AA, denial is not a river in Egypt. But they say the Ganges will heal you. Denial will not. So being honest with yourself is the prerequisite for spiritual growth and change. Because it turns out to be true that everything comes and goes, as we keep saying, it's the essence of the Dharma. Everything comes and goes, including us. And our actions are the only things we own. So, to the degree that we act with truth and think with truth and live in the truth, life gets easier. We step out of the truth because the truth is uncomfortable. We always end up coming back to it. Living in the truth, we have nothing to deny or defend from ourselves. We have nothing to apologize for. We see and embrace the truth of who we are, and that's the healing power. This shows up in all kinds of spiritual traditions. In the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, you get to the 6th step, which says, became entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. I don't really like the term defects of character, really pejorative. But, we all have foibles and stuff and behaviors that we learned didn't work for us. So AA suggests we become entirely ready. What does that mean? To me, it means we look right at it. We stop denying it. Okay, I have been dishonest and manipulative. I grew up with that. That's what I had to do to, survive growing up in a chaotic household. but I don't want to be that guy anymore. But I had to look right at it. I had to look right at the attitudes and beliefs and behaviors that didn't work for me anymore, and the consequences of those, even though it was really, really uncomfortable. But I couldn't heal any of it unless I got honest with myself about it. Because the simple truth is, you can't let go of anything you haven't embraced first. I saw an interview with another rock and roll musician who, his bandmates were complaining that he was treating them terribly, and he was, no, I'm not doing any of that. It wasn't until the band almost broke up that he said, oh yeah, I am doing that. That was Stephen Stills, by the way. You can find the interview on YouTube. They were complaining that he was treating, Crosby and Nash were complaining that he was treating them as his backup band. So, no, I'm not doing that. But he eventually realized that he was, and the band was able to continue because he embraced the truth. AA talks about rigorous honesty. The problem with the truth, or the thing about the truth, is it's a bright light that doesn't leave out anything. I can deny it. That only means I'm not looking at it. It doesn't mean it's not there. And to the degree that we have transgressed or done things that we need to be forgiven for, or need to forgive other people, we can only do that in the context of the truth. I can't ask you to forgive me if I'm not honest about my behavior. It's just not that, it's not any more complicated than that. So the truth about the truth is that the truth points the way forward. And it's also important to understand that everybody's truth is real. Just because you don't understand someone's experience doesn't mean it's not happening to them. And when I was a therapist, coming up on a year since I did that, it's hard to believe that much time has gone by. There were these things that I would call the common colds of psychotherapy. One of them I identified in couples counseling all the time. This person here is having an experience, a difficult experience, a negative experience of that person over there. This person over here doesn't understand it, doesn't see it, doesn't recognize it, and therefore tells this person over here, that's not happening. That happens with couples all the time. That's not for real, you're making it up, it's not important. It occurred to me to call that gaslighting, but gaslighting implies a certain kind of dishonesty. I don't think this is intentional. Part of the thing about truth and denial is we don't get to decide when people come out of their denial. We're all in denial about something all the time. We don't get to decide when people have to accept the most difficult truths of their lives. But in the context of couples counseling, and I think in a lot of relationships, if this person says, I'm having this experience, that's actually their experience. Right? And for this person to say, no, that's not happening because I can't see myself doing it, or I'm not comfortable with it, invalidates this person over here and leaves them feeling alone and isolated. And there's no healing that can take place without the truth. And we do this to each other all the time. Right? Like Stephen Stills regarding Nash and Crosby as his backup band. It turned out that he was actually doing that. It is also true that Stephen Stills played all the instruments. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So part of recognizing the truth is recognizing somebody else's truth. If you come to me and say, I feel like you're being mean to me, the first place I'm going to go is, I don't see that. But I also need to meet that with some sort of curiosity as how do you get that? What is the nature of that? Otherwise, I can't address it. So the truth, it's big and round. We have to accept the truth of ourselves, our truths, and we have to accept other people's truths. We don't have to like it. We don't have to agree with it. But we have to acknowledge that this is their truth, and they are living in it, whether we like it or not. Then we can meet that person in a healing space. And the truth might also be that they can't meet that truth. Then we can meet that. But I say again, we don't get to decide when people have to face, people are in denial because the pain of the truth is too much to hold in the moment. We don't get to decide when they have to lift the veil on that. We do get to decide how we're going to relate to that. I've seen people have to get, to their third hospitalization before they got sober because they were too ashamed. And, we don't get to decide when people have to lift the veil and look at the hard truths. But they are there nonetheless, and they will heal us every time. And the last thing I want to talk about in relation to the truth is mindfulness. Mindfulness is an exercise in being with truth unvarnished. To quote Gil Fonsdale, who wrote, "Mindfulness is sometimes defined as a practice of being honest about what is happening in the present moment. The awesome freedom and profound peace towards which the Buddhist path moves has nothing to do with how much we know, whom we know, how rich, smart, or beautiful we are, or who admires or even loves us. Rather, this path has everything to do with telling ourselves the truth, and in doing so, becoming a true person." So, here's my truth. I think you're all just beautiful. I love you guys. I really do. It's such a pleasure to do these talks and to meet with you, even the ones I've never met, even the ones I don't see. I can see how many people view these on YouTube, so I know there's a whole bunch of anonymous people. I love you too. So that's the truth I'm going to leave you with. So thank you again for your kind attention. Does anybody have any thoughts or comments about any of that?
I just wanted to say thank you, Ken, for all these talks and stuff. Just to let you know, I'm healthy, but I'm actually quarantined with COVID right now.
I'm really sorry to hear that, Justin.
But yeah, but I've been watching your talks on YouTube every day, and they've been really helpful and great. And I'm just really thankful for you. I just want to say that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. How are you feeling?
I feel a lot better right now. Yeah.
How far are you into the quarantine?
Oh, I only have like one more day, so.
I'll say meta practice for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Guys, great to see y'all. Thanks a lot. And Justin, my contact information's in the chat. You can get in touch with me if you feel like you want to talk.
I appreciate it.
And that applies to anybody. And my website tells you how to get in touch with me. So, thank you all. See you next time.